My name is Danielle Allen, and this is Route 5 Farm. We're in Fairleigh, Vermont. Well, our farm is a total of 38 acres. We grow about 80 acres of vegetables, and we sell through 200 CSA shares to the farmers market and to some local restaurants and the co-ops. So it breaks down to about 65% of our business is through CSA shares, 20% through wholesale, and then 15% through farmers market. Because we're doing CSA shares, we're doing lots of different successions of all of our salad greens and herbs and root vegetables throughout the whole season. So I feel like diversity is our specialty. Last time we counted, it's over 100 different varieties of vegetables. So, we have 6 full-time employees from March until December, and then my husband and I both are full-time on the farm. So there's 8 of us. And we have a rotating schedule, so it's not the same person. We have 3 harvest days each week, and so there's 3 different people that are able to use the same space, which is really awesome because I think no one really wants to work it full-time, but are happy to work it 1 day a week. And yeah, I think that's one thing we've seen with the systems we've set up, that it doesn't just have to be one person, that they're clear enough that everyone can kind of jump in and use the same systems. So that's been awesome. Yeah, I can speak to even just like lighting as far as morale, and because we used to have really crappy lighting in this space, and just like making things, we opened up the doors. There were really narrow doors before, so we made these big wide 8-foot wide doors, and then improved the ceiling lighting, and it's just, I feel like it's enjoyable to be in the space. Oh yeah, and we added 4 windows too. There weren't any windows before, so just I think our next step for morale is heating, because we do a lot with season extension, and so we insulated the whole first floor so that we can heat the space to make our season extension work a little more enjoyable too. I think by creating a space that is enjoyable for our staff to use, and setting up systems that are straightforward and easy to use, it makes it kind of natural. There's not a lot of like strict rules that we have, but produce safety happens because it's just set up in a clean and well-lit way. I think we had the benefit of, we had an existing space, so we had some constraints we had to work with, just the existing footprint of the building, and we used that space for 3 seasons before we started making some of these big investments in it. So we had a good sense of how we used the space and where it was not meeting our needs, and how we could make some changes. So we put a lot of thought, a lot of time and effort into the design process, and decided to expand the building, because that was one of our challenges, was just we were sort of overflowing. We didn't have enough space to wash all our totes and to set up the root washer so it wasn't in the way, and so that was sort of one of our first big changes, was to expand the footprint. And then the second piece was to just implement our whole mantra of everything on wheels. And maybe this doesn't so much tie into the food safety piece, but it's all part of it, I guess. It's just in terms of efficiency of use of the space, and sort of the modular nature of the space, because it's a small space for how much produce we're moving through. We wanted to be able to easily shift it around and change it and set it up for a different type of crop that was coming in, or different bagging that we're doing for CSA. So yeah, so setting up a very like modular space with everything on wheels was a big part of it, our design process. And yeah, and then I think just some basic, like following some of the basic food safety premise of like all washable surfaces and good drainage of all the wastewater, and good lighting, improving the lighting. So those, following those standards really helped us just to bring the space up to a higher quality space. I think we've got a pretty basic setup, and there's always room for improvement. Like, it's not perfect, but we just have 3 large bins that we fill for like 200 gallon bins for filling and dunking and doing like double and triple washes of all of our greens. We've got a salad spinner to spin things dry, and a root washer, really, and then hoses, just in many locations because we're just always spraying things down, and the ability to hang the hoses up so they're not dragging all over the floor. It feels pretty basic, but it's basically just basins of water and hoses. I guess that maybe goes back to having everything on wheels or everything palletized and we also have a pallet jack so we can move things around the space. So all of our equipment is either on wheels or able to be moved with a pallet jack. So we can kind of move things out of our way, like a root washer that we only use once a month or something like that. Probably most farms, one of the things we spend way more time than we wish on is washing out all of our totes. So we've set up really distinct systems for totes that go out in the field and their washing and storage of those totes versus totes that are for like a finished pack of something that's clean. It's in a different area, and so we've tried to set up distinct systems for tote washing and areas for that. We call it like the on-off system, where I can show you in a minute, but we have a system where anytime a tote is upright, it's dirty, and if it's flipped over, that means it's clean and dry. So our walk-in cooler is connected right with our wash station space, so we installed a sliding door. Was kind of a nice efficiency innovation for us. We had a door that was troublesome, and so this is a nice investment to ease the opening and closing of the door. We have it's just a pretty straight ahead like compressor cooling system, but we have a really clear readout right next to the door that shows us the temperature that the cold storage is held at.